Today is the day that we murdered Jesus. The day that we gave him a phony verdict from an illegal trial. The day that we spat on him, mocked him, beat him. And when it wasn't enough, we sent him to Pilate, requesting that he be executed. He was scourged, flogged with whips, embedded with bone and metal. We pressed thorns into his scalp, into his forehead. When he could not stand anymore and his blood stained the ground, we placed a beam on his shoulders, meant to be the weapon, the instrument of his execution. And we forced him to carry it down the road until he could no longer carry it and he fell into the dirt. And when we saw that he couldn't go on, we forced him and coerced him and dragged him to the place that we would crucify him. And we lay his raw, bleeding back against the rough timber. We nailed his hands and his feet to it. And we lifted him up in the scorching sun as we gambled for his clothing, anything he had valuable, not realizing the treasure he offered was something that couldn't be won by games of chance. When we were thirsty, we drank. As we watched him cry out to God with parched, cracked lips. But when we grew bored, it was time to hurry things along. So we began breaking legs so that we didn't break our religious laws. When we came to Jesus, he was already dead. It's a shame, really. It was all kind of anticlimactic. Today is the day that we murdered Jesus. But today was the day that Jesus chose to die. Even last night in the garden when he prayed, he didn't stand like he normally would. He threw himself on the ground and he cried out to God, begging that somehow his Father would find another way, somehow that he could avoid the cross. But he said, nevertheless, if this is the way that you've chosen, I will go willingly. And when the priests and the servants and the soldiers came to arrest him, he didn't fight back. Even when Peter cut off the ear of one of the servants, he stopped him. And the last miracle that he performed while he was alive, he placed his hand on the servant's head and he healed his ear. The ear of one who would deliver him to his executioner. During his trial, he didn't come up with clever defenses. He didn't defend himself at all. He went willingly. And when he stood before Pilate, and Pilate, he told him that he had the ability to release him or to crucify him. Jesus told him he had no authority except what was given by the Father. And when he was on the cross and he could have called 10,000 angels to come and remove him from his suffering, he stayed willingly. In one of his final statements, he cried out from the cross and he said, "It is finished," which to many in the audience, they may have seen it written on the top of their receipt, roughly meaning paid in full. Today is the day that Jesus chose to die for his murderers. Today is the day that Jesus chose to pay in full the debt of our sin. And if you think today was something, you just wait until Sunday.